gets their say.
We gotta stop and not put these officers in situations where they feel like they have to overreact.
And whether you agree,
We have to assume some responsibility, because I'm a black man.
or disagree,
I think you're politically wrong.
I do not need athletes to tell me.
you're invited to join the conversation.
Thank you for canceling all your games. Now I get it.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Nothing new to report. The heat rolls on. The high today in the mid-90s, maybe 95, 96 degrees this afternoon, putting that heat index up near 110. It is really going to be awful out there today. Could see an isolated afternoon thunderstorm, but not much rain expected. Lows near 80 tonight and tomorrow, possibly even hotter, getting close to 100. And those heat index readings obviously over 110 as well. It will turn cooler for the BMW Golf next week. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm KMOV meteorologist Kent Earhart.
I am an atheist.
I really am a liberal.
But I'm also a conservative.
No matter your side,
I'm a Democrat.
I'm just a bit angry, frustrated conservative.
no matter your inclination,
I'm probably a liberal, maybe more in the middle.
we are here for your place to talk about it.
I'm the progressive liberal Democrat that you said is afraid to call you.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
And I'm sure we'll have a robust conversation.
News Talk STL. This hour of Colombo Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
The time to rise has been engaged. Your better best to rearrange. I'm talking here to me alone. I listen to the finest work song. Your finest hour.
Hello and welcome to Colombo and Company on a Thursday afternoon. This week is absolutely flying by. Thank you for being here with us as we've got another packed show for you today. Lots to catch up on as we get you the latest, political drama. It's only going to get worse. I talked about this leading up to the primary elections last week here in Missouri, where we were election crazy, just, preparing for the elections and talking about all the important races and things that were on the ballot. And it felt like, okay, once we get to election day, we'll take a little bit of a break. Nope, there's no break. We are right into midterm election season, both here in Missouri and across the country. So there's lots to talk about in that regard. There's things to talk about and catch up on when we talk about the latest with Iran. There's some interesting things happening with some old friends. Nancy Pelosi has made it back into the news today. Elizabeth Warren has made it back into the news today for, as you can probably guess, some pretty ridiculous things. So I look forward to talking about those as we go through the afternoon. We are going to, in the 3 o'clock hour this afternoon, we are going to talk to my co-host for the Bluff City Outdoors Show, which you can hear every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. There is, there's always good stuff to talk to with them about. On Saturdays, we keep it very fun. We talk fishing and bow hunting and trapping and all of these things, but and we avoid politics on the Bluff City Outdoor Show on purpose because it's the freaking weekend, and we want to have some fun and talk about fishing and hunting and trapping and being outside and all of those good things. But both Mike and Mark, very politically knowledgeable and active in various ways. So, and Mark, being a small business owner also in the area over there in the People's Republic of Illinois, it's just great to have an opportunity throughout the week to dig into some of these issues with Mike and Mark from the Bluff City Outdoor Show that we don't get a chance to talk about on Saturday. So looking forward to that. Dr. Randy Tobler also going to join us in the 3 o'clock hour. He'll be with us right at 3 o'clock, so a little less than an hour from now. Speaking of great Saturday morning programming, as I mentioned, the Bluff City Outdoor Show, Saturday mornings at 11 a.m., the Randy Tobler Show, Saturday mornings 6 to 9 a.m. right here on News Talk STL. Always a great perspective. Dr. Tobler is one of those guys, and believe me, I know the feeling, that can sometimes rub, the people the wrong way. Like the people, I always think it's funny when it's like, when somebody says, like, we're supposed to be on a team, or we're supposed to, like, don't air Republican dirty laundry. It only helps the Democrats. And I've never understood that. I've never understood that perspective, because that is exactly the problem with the Democratic Party. It's one of the biggest problems, is that they have made it in that party so strict, and the now progressives that run that party have set a standard of, you either agree with us all the time, you fall in line and you agree with us all the time, or you're not in the club anymore. And that's why that party has allowed itself to get so far extreme out to the left. I'm not saying that the conservative side of things are going to do the same thing, but, as a very libertarian-minded conservative, there's certainly things that this Republican Party does that drive me crazy. And it's important that we call balls and strikes on our own side. And Dr. Tobler is one of those guys who's not afraid to have those conversations. So I think they're great. Very compelling, interesting conversations with Doc. And, of course, not only can he talk about all of the political issues and all the things that are happening in the news cycle, but an absolute perfect expert whenever we're talking about healthcare or any type of, medical or healthcare issue that's in the news. Nobody can explain what's going on behind the scenes, the swamp part of healthcare, better than Dr. Tobler. So looking forward to talking to Doc at about 3 o'clock this afternoon about some of those issues. Thursday afternoons, we also like to talk local politics, and today we're going to be joined by Mike Ferguson from Mike Ferguson in the Morning. He's putting a little overtime in this afternoon. I want to talk to Mike about the reactions and the impact of last week's elections in Missouri. And, Mike's been covering local politics especially for decades. And so another just perfect example, perfect insider to have these conversations with, because a lot of decisions need to be made by Missouri Republicans here in the next few months as we head to the midterms, and then we get ready to start the new legislative session in January. What are they going to do after the voters of Missouri have spoken on Amendment 4? Is IP reform? Are they going to take another run at IP reform and try to maybe do a better job of communicating the issue to the voters of Missouri? Because I think that that communication was one of the biggest problems with what happened with Amendment 4 last week. Are they going to take another run at the income tax issue, or are they going to move on to other issues like personal property tax or other things? And what do voters want from them? And what do they want? What Missouri voters, what do they want these lawmakers to focus on here at the end of the year and heading into the new year? So really interesting conversations, and I want to dig into some of that stuff with Mike Ferguson. He'll be with us a little bit later on this hour, about 25 minutes from now. And in a little less than 10 minutes, we're going to talk to, actually just over 5 minutes, we're going to talk to Virginia KRUTA from the Daily Wire. Lots going on in this world. And as I mentioned, I want to update you on what's happening with Iran and some other things. And You can read Virginia's articles on all these important stories every day at thedailywire.com, and she's a veteran herself, so especially when we're talking about these military stories and things like that, she's just got a great perspective on all these things. So it's going to be a packed show. Got a lot of great guests coming up, a lot of great company coming over today on Colombo and Company. So we'll dig into all of it as we go through the day. Let's start with a couple of these. I don't know if these are a little bit I don't know if you would consider these to be a little bit lighter, but certainly a little bit different than some of the stories that we have been talking about recently, as we've got some of these old familiar friends' names popping up in the headlines today. As I mentioned, Nancy Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren both finding themselves in the headlines. We're going to start with Nancy, because this is a great one. And I actually wrote an article about this, my own article. You know, Virginia writes articles every single day. And, you know, I write one or two a year. And I did last night. This story really, it just, you know, like all of the irony, all of the lies, all of the, you know, just the reminder of who Nancy Pelosi is. It was really interesting to me. So I have a little article up on our website, newstalkstl.com, that you can read as well if you want to learn more about this story. But Nancy Pelosi has called out everyone that saw Joe Biden's mental decline in office, but didn't act on it. You would think that would apply to her, right? But no, it doesn't apply to her, because according to Nancy, she never saw the decline. What an unbelievable way to try to pin blame on people, admit the truth about Joe Biden having struggles and being a mess in especially the last 2 years of his administration. But the problems were there from the very, very beginning. Try to be that person that's like being transparent and calling, you know, we just mentioned calling balls and strikes on your own side, you know, looking like the person that's willing to call out people on her own side, but find a way to wiggle out of it herself. It's amazing. I don't know how you say something like that and keep a straight face as Nancy Pelosi, but she's very good at that these days. So Nancy did an interview with Politico this week, and she denied knowing anything about former President Joe Biden's mental decline while in office, but said those who did know should have acted on the information. Pelosi said repeatedly that she didn't know Biden had experienced any sort of decline, saying, quote, "I didn't know, but I do think that those who did know should have acted upon that information." There was staff saying the family knew, the family saying that the staff knew. I don't know, but they should have acted sooner. Just incredible that she is, you know. Also, if you remember, Nancy Pelosi always conducted herself and represented herself as somebody who is in control of her party, you know, a leader of that party that has her finger on the pulse of everything, who's always talking to the president, who's always talking to Chuck Schumer in the Senate, who's always talking to, you know, the other Democratic congressmen and women, because she's the best. But now we're supposed to believe that she just went several years without having a conversation with Joe Biden because she never was around to notice his mental decline. Also, despite many accounts from the D.C. press, people within the Biden team, as she mentioned, staff and family from other people within the Democratic Party that have all said Pelosi was the driving force behind Biden dropping out of the race. How many stories have we done about that? About Nancy Pelosi being the one who was pushing for Joe Biden to drop out of the race, because especially after that debate performance that was so pathetic. She never saw it. She never saw the mental decline. I guess she didn't watch the debate either, even though she talked about watching the debate. You know, it's just multiple stories. Books have been written by people like Karine Jean-Pierre and, you know, others that have, and Jill Biden and others, about what was going on at that time and the people that were trying to push Joe out and the people that were trying to fight for Joe to stay. And Nancy Pelosi is always in there as being the driving force behind pushing Biden to drop out of the race. However, she is trying to rewrite history in that regard as well with this interview this week, repeating her denial of that she had never, ever pushed for that, and claimed that she never asked Joe to drop out, saying to Political, quote, "I only said to President Biden, I've come to question the polling that you've had, how your campaign is being conducted. I didn't ask him not to run or anything like that. This is what I asked. I would hope that we could have some other pollsters come in and sit down with your pollster and discuss what they hear out there." But she did claim that she told him to get tested mentally, saying, quote, "And I did say this. I think the public would like to hear that you've had a testing that demonstrates that you can serve the next term." I mean, just attempting to completely rewrite history and walk this fine line of admitting that Joe Biden was a problem and Joe Biden's mental decline was a problem and that he wasn't fit to be in office, while dodging raindrops to try to keep any of that blame off of her, which is literally impossible. She even goes on to talk about praying with the president at the White House, holding their rosaries and praying together. The leaders of the most anti-Christian mainstream political party in certainly my lifetime are praying with their rosaries in the White House in the Oval Office while they're having these conversations about him getting tested. Also, if she's asking him to get tested to prove that he's not mentally declining, isn't that kind of admitting that you've witnessed that decline yourself, which she says she didn't? It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable, but it's classic Nancy Pelosi trying to rewrite history, trying to protect her legacy in some way. And it was a fascinating thing to read. And again, you can dig into it a little bit more if you go to our website, newstalkstl.com. Check out the article that I wrote about this. I get into some more details, especially about the prayers and these things, the other claims that she made in this interview. And it reminds me of just how frustrating and evil Nancy Pelosi was, and brought up some of those old feelings. And I'm glad that she's not as much a part of our lives as she used to be. But I'll always take an opportunity to call her out on her lies, and certainly this was one of those. As I mentioned, Elizabeth Warren also in the news. There's an actual candidate of Native American descent running for Senate and running on the claim that they will be the first Native American to win a Senate seat if they are able to win. And that's supposed to be Elizabeth Warren's whole thing. She's the first woman of color to have done so many things, because of her Native American background, which, again, is kind of funny. And one of the other things that we'll dig into as we go through the afternoon. Let's get Virginia KRUTA in on the conversation. Virginia KRUTA from the Daily Wire is going to join us next. You're listening to Colombo Company on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL.
I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmoscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmoscholars.org. That's herzogmoscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Simply Health with Dr. Brian Deloney.
Statins lower cholesterol, but do you know how they actually work inside your body? And what if there were natural approaches that work through completely different biological pathways? This week, we're diving into cholesterol science you probably never learned. Don't miss it.
Simply Health with Dr. Brian Deloney. Saturdays at noon on News Talk STL. To find out more about Simply Health Integrated Medical, log on to simplyhealthintegrated.com.
Tired of big corporate repair shops? J&J Auto and Tire is family owned and St. Louis proud. 16 years of honest answers, even when it's not what you want to hear. Digital inspections sent straight to your phone, videos and photos of exactly what we found. No guesswork, no pressure, just a trained service advisor helping you make the right call. Contactless drop-off, loyalty rewards, fleets welcome. All backed by a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty. J&J Auto and Tire on Page and Overland. Honest repairs, real people. Book today. JamandJAuto.com.
Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. As I mentioned, in about 15 minutes from now, we're going to be joined by our morning show host, Mike Ferguson, from Mike Ferguson in the Morning. I want to dig into some of the local issues at hand when we get Mike on the line. And right now, I want to stick with some of the national and international stories as we have our friend Virginia KRUTA from the Daily Wire on the line with us. Virginia, Caroline Levitt stepping down. That could be you. You want to make a run at this? Press secretary? Let's do it. Let's do it. You got to stay on my show every week, though, if you become press secretary.
Yeah.
Who do you think? I've already, they're already starting the conversation. I've seen names like Alina Habba, who's a Trump advisor, has been in the news, a whole bunch. I've seen her name on the list. Who else have I seen? Stephen Miller, Scott Jennings. What do you think about this position, and how important is it that they get? Trump's had a pretty good, well, I guess outside of the very beginning of his first, he's had a pretty good run, especially lately with press secretaries. How important is it that they stick the landing on this one and get another star?
I mean, obviously the first administration, they went through a few.
Yeah.
Because you had
I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name who was there for like 10 days. What was that guy's name who was there for like 10 days? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that's literally why I stopped myself when I said, he said, because I was thinking of like Sarah Sanders and Caroline Levitt and others like that.
Kayleigh McEnany.
Kayleigh McEnany's a great. Yeah, she was fantastic. I was thinking of the names like that, and then right as I'm saying that sentence, I think it's scary, and I'm like, oh wait a minute. He does not have a flawless record when it comes to his press people.
And, and Sean Spicer did a great job.
Yeah, Spicer was good, yeah.
So, here's the thing. I think he's not had great luck with longevity with his press secretaries, but they do tend to burn out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And this is true of any press secretary. It's not just because they're Trump's press secretary that they burn out. It's a tough job. Unless you're willing to stand there and just not answer questions, which is what Karine Jean-Pierre did. And you get the idea. But
yeah.
I like having someone in that position who is willing to call a spade, and so that when they look, the ones who are willing to look at you and say, "Well, that's a dumb question."
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna kind of preface this. I have a brother-in-law who is a doctor, and he says sometimes people will come in and they've already diagnosed themselves, or they've already decided that this is what they need, or this is what they, and so they'll come in and they'll explain the situation to him like they're telling him what to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's kind of like, okay, well, you've said some words, and I'm gonna go talk to my colleagues, and we're going to process those words. Like, so he's trying to be diplomatic without saying you're an idiot, right? And so I think that there is some value to that, to have a press secretary who's able to respond to, the question from CNN with, well, you've said some words.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think I would love to, like, I think Scott Jennings would do a fantastic job. I don't know if that's where he wants to be.
Yeah, it's a really important position because
if the president asked him.
Yeah, right.
But I think that, and you and I have both talked to him. He's a fantastic guy. And really, really quick on his feet. So I think that he would be good in that position. The question is whether or not he would want to do it.
Right.
And I think we're kind of in the clear here as far as, if you think in an administration like this, where, I know that the Trump administration doesn't really play by the rules, the demographic rules, like, do you check the right number of boxes?
Right.
Or like Karine Jean-Pierre was the first queer, whatever. Nobody cares. I mean, if we were going to do it, if we were going to say that, we could say, oh, Caroline Leavitt is the youngest press secretary in history and the first one to give birth while holding the job.
Right.
And I mean, she checks a few boxes if you're.
And those would be headlines, by the way, if there was a Democrat in office and Caroline Leavitt. Those what you just said would be.
Funny story. Right now, Amy Klobuchar is the Democrat nominee, I believe, for governor in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
There is a black woman who is the nominee for the Republicans in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And the headline
That's always an
Amy
unfortunate
Klobuchar,
thing for the Democrats, isn't it? When they're running against
Amy Klobuchar is the first woman to lead a major party ticket for governor in her state.
Oh.
Even though a Republican is doing it too at the same time. Like,
yeah. Oh, perfect example.
So it's very interesting, but I don't think that the Trump administration, if they feel this way, they shouldn't. I don't think that they feel that they need to. We need to go with another woman, or we need to do this, or we need to do that. So I think that they're perfectly in the clear to put somebody like Scott Jennings. I've seen Spencer Pratt's name floated, and man, that would be hilarious, even if he just did it for a day. Like he could give us one Scaramucci, and it'd be worth it.
Right. Maybe just don't have a guest press secretary every week. It's just a different person rotating through.
but I, honestly, if history is, if past is prologue, they're not going to fill the role, and Marco Rubio is just going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he'll just
did
pile it on his plate.
He just
pile it on his plate. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did you see the interview that he did this past weekend?
But I saw your article about it, and
oh my gosh,
yeah,
it's the best thing. So Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, has a podcast, and she interviewed Marco Rubio and his wife Jeanette together. And you can take that with a grain of salt. Everybody else is watching it and going, "Yep, he's running." But so they were just talking, and they had a conversation about Rubio had mentioned that his nephew had come to visit him and wanted to know, could they watch Jaws? And he's like, Jaws is boring. I got a better movie for you. And he starts talking about Sharknado. And Katie Miller cannot keep it together. She's cracking up. Jeanette Rubio is sitting next to him, like trying to keep her composure while rolling her eyes because this is the most ridiculous thing to ever happen. And she starts talking about how awful it is. And then oh my gosh, he is so animated. He's like, there's this one, I think it's the third one, and he knows these movies way too well, by the way.
I love it.
Okay, I think it's the third one, and it's in Washington, D.C., and there's sharks in the reflecting pool, and I'm like, I got to show this to the president.
You know what? I love that
Can
because
you believe it?
he's a real person. Like you know, like we do that on this show. We do that. We you know, I make sure that we don't always just get lost in the weeds and talk about all, you know, we're here to inform people on the news and keep you up to speed on the issues. And, you know, that's our job and we're always going to do our job. But there's other things in life to, you know.
And they also asked him, you're going to get a kick out of this. They asked him about RFK's diet, right? The sauerkraut and red meat and whatever. And he's like, that's just insane. You have to travel with like a cooler of sauerkraut. And like, you can't, no, it's great. Well, and then they asked him, had he ever tried any diets like that? And he's like, well, not like that, but he did try keto like 4 or 5 years ago. And he was explaining it as it's like all this protein and you cut out all the carbs and sugar. And it was like a near psychotic event for me. That's what he said. And his wife is like, it's true. Because he's like, man, if I had been on this diet while I was doing this job, I would have been like, Mr. President, we got to bomb Paraguay. And he'd be like, why? And I'd be like, I don't know. I'm just mad. I haven't had any sugar.
I need a dinner roll stat. Yeah. That's great.
It's so real. It's so like he doesn't, and when he laughs, he doesn't sound like he's like it's not a put on. I love it. It was such a good interview.
Yeah.
Katie Miller has a bunch of the clips on Twitter, X, whatever. There's a bunch of clips of it, but if you just look up Rubio Katie Miller podcast, it is definitely worth it.
Yeah, well, and go check out Virginia's article about it. DailyWire.com.
They asked him what was what's the secret to a happy marriage, and he says compliance. You know, for the
husband. See, that's great. That's great, and this, you know, to tie that into politics because you know it's when you think of like who's next for the Republicans, you know, we're already playing that game. We're already playing the 2028 presidential nominee game. And Rubio and Vance, you know, are usually at the top two. We're usually the only really two in the discussion right now when it comes to Republicans. And, you know, I'm not ready to have a debate on who's better, Rubio or Vance, but I know that like when I hear those names and then you hear you read stories about the top contenders on the left. And the names are Gavin Newsom, AOC, J.B. Pritzker. Like holy cow! Just compare the two.
That gets better.
Compare the two sides. I mean, it's just
Gavin Newsom just went to Michigan to do a couple of fundraisers and appearances
for Saeed
for El Sayed.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Okay, so Newsom's in and they're asking him. Or not fundraisers for him, just fundraisers for Democrats in general. But he just happened to be in Michigan. Anyway, they asked him, do you think that El Sayed's election is proof that the Republicans are right, that the Democrats are lurching too far, you know, they're embracing extremism, et cetera, because of, you know, Hassan Piker and all the rest. And Gavin Newsom says something about, and you can tell he sees the writing on the wall. He says something about, well, I think it's just that there's this kind of view that we want the new guy, we want the fighter, we want, you know, the insurgent over the incumbent. And so that's why there's all this. They're embracing the left, not because they're really, really far to the left, but because they represent change and everybody wants change. And then Newsom says, and I've always kind of viewed myself that way as kind of the established insurgent.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
That is.
So he's trying to piggyback. So you can tell he's definitely trying to figure out a way to save his own career while supporting the young, but while making it look like he's supporting the young upstarts. And
twisting his way to try to be everything to everybody. You know, I'm the one who's looked at as the liberal conservative. So, you know, I'm there for everybody. Yeah, what a joke. That's awesome. But yeah, go and check out Virginia's articles, dailywire.com, including the Rubio, which I'm glad you brought that up, because I was one of the things I wanted to ask you about, just because of your headline, Rubio dives into Jaws versus Sharknado. I was like, you got me.
Yeah.
I gotta know what this is all about. Virginia KRUTA, thanks as always for your time, my friend. We'll talk to you again very soon. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Yeah, awesome stuff there. Virginia KRUTA, dailywire.com. Check out her articles there every day. And, of course, she's with us every Thursday here on Colombo and Company. All right, we're going to switch the conversation to some of the local issues, some of the fallout from last week's elections and the direction that Missouri politicians are going to go as we head into the midterm elections and then into the next legislative session. And we're going to be joined by our very own Mike Ferguson from Mike Ferguson in the Morning. He's putting a little overtime in this afternoon to talk to us next.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
The ring of fire, the ring of fire.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Houthi rebels just struck another trade vessel off the coast of Yemen, killing 6 people. We'll ask Steve Bucci who really has control of the Strait of Hormuz and the Mideast waterways at 420.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs. It's a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education, because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding, because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
JC's Wayback Machine.
Sunday is the anniversary of the King falling off the throne, so we'll crack open our extensive Elvis file. The Beatles performed at Busch Stadium this week in '66. We'll remember the stadium worker whose only job that day was to keep the boys from being electrocuted. And who are these people who talked to the Post and expressed mixed reactions about GNR being here Sunday? Brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. On News Talk STL.
Your trees do a lot for you. Shade, beauty, curb appeal, but are they safe? Clever Tree Service has been protecting St. Louis homes and landscapes for over 20 years. Pruning, trimming, removal, stump grinding, even 24/7 emergency storm service. Fully insured, eco-friendly, and always focused on you. From Kirkwood to Chesterfield, Webster Groves to Wildwood, your neighbors trust Clever Tree Service. Visit clevertreeservice.com for your free quote today.
This hour of Colombo and Company brought to you by Gutter Pros. Water goes where we tell it. Call 314-656-7195 or visit them at gutterpros.com.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by
All right.
my side.
All right.
And I spent so many nights.
That's an interesting open for Mike Ferguson. Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 101.941 News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson from Mike Ferguson in the Morning, putting a little overtime in this afternoon, joining us on the line. How are you, my friend?
I'll survive.
Yeah, there you go, babe. Well done. I wanted to talk to you because Thursday afternoons, Wednesdays and Thursdays especially, have been traditionally days that we focus on local issues, local politics, things happening in Jeff City, and as I mentioned earlier, Mike's been covering Missouri politics for a long. I don't want to give away any ages or anything. We'll just say a long time. And so I thought a perfect person to talk to, following last week's elections, or I guess it's been a little bit more than that now. It's crazy how time flies. But we've already shifted gears from being hyper focused on those primary elections to now getting ready for the midterm elections, both in Missouri and across the country. And then obviously these lawmakers are gonna the impact of these elections that are happening this year are going to weigh heavy on what they're going to do in Jeff City this coming January when the new session starts. First of all, you and I haven't really had a chance to talk too much since the election. Before we even get into those things, what were some of the biggest, especially now that we've had time to digest the results of these elections and things like that? What are your biggest takeaways from the primary elections and your biggest things that you're focused on with Missouri issues in the wake of those elections?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, let me start with the last question. What am I focused on moving forward? It's all about Amendment 3 in November. I don't know that there are going to be too many candidate races for state rep or state senate or anything like that are all that competitive, just because that's how they've drawn the districts. So the voter turnout and whatever energy comes to the November elections on the Missouri side is probably going to be all about Amendment 3, and I would look for the opponents of Amendment 3, your Planned Parenthoods and ACLU and all them, to pour tens of millions of dollars trying to defeat that. But when you look at the elections that just happened, I think what you saw was a couple things. One, overall, Republicans in Missouri are still looking for conservative candidates overall. Secondly, voters really pounded the Republican plans in amendments, obviously 4 and 5. So that was, that I voted for both of them. But when you lose by 20 and they get 20% or 23% and that sort of thing. I mean, that's not just we didn't message right. That is, we laid an egg, and even Republicans didn't like it.
No, that's catastrophic defeat at that point. Yeah.
I don't know that in all the years that you wouldn't disclose a second ago that I've been covering Missouri and politics, I don't know that I've ever seen a beating that bad in something that was supposed to be contested. That was amazing.
It was. And Amendment 4 for me was the most important thing on the ballot, and I had been screaming about it until I was blue in the face for weeks leading up to it. I felt all along I did not think it was going to be that big of a blowout. I knew that both 4 and 5 were going to have a tough time. I thought 5 was going to have an even tougher time, and I thought that I was prepared for 4 to lose, but I thought it had a chance, and boy, was I obviously completely wrong. I still believe that the biggest problem was voters not completely understanding what Amendment 4 said and did, and what the current amendment process is, the initiative petition process is, and if they did have a better understanding of that, maybe it would have been a little bit different. Maybe that's just wishful thinking, but I feel like communication was the biggest problem with Amendment 4, and I think it ties into what you just said about the concerns about Amendment 3 in November, because again, it was, I think, non-understanding what was in some of these things when it comes to the amendments that put us in this Amendment 3 problem that we're in right now. I think communication's been a big problem. Would you agree with that, or are there other things?
I think that's for Amendment 4. I think you're spot on, because what happens is the messaging from the opposition was, it's ending majority rule. 1 or 2 areas in the state could tell the others what to do and that sort of thing. What nobody was able to get across is, no, you can still pass laws with 50% plus 1. This was about the state constitution. Right. And so the feel bad campaign about it was really easy to do, because frankly, I'll be really honest, a lot of people don't understand the difference between the state constitution and the state statutes.
Yeah.
And so people were thinking, what? It shouldn't, they just conflated the two. And Amendment 5 was just a crap show from the start. And it basically was the Republican, and I think I said this on the election night, it was the Republican version of, you have to pass the bill so you can find out what's in it.
Yep.
And that just doesn't pass muster with a lot of people. So I think that when we get into the next legislative session, they're going to test the waters really early, the Republicans, to say, okay, let's put some tax cuts out there, and media is going to throw a fit, Democrats are going to throw a fit. We're going to find out which Republican lawmakers are going to have enough of a spine to say, you know what, people want tax cuts. They just didn't like that plan. We're going to try to cut the taxes and make this state more competitive anyway, or we'll see who succumbs to media coverage. Well, voters just voted against this. Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be one of the early things you see in Jefferson City in January.
Yeah. And that's exactly where I was going. So do you think that they will test the waters on specifically income tax, or do you think that because this was such an overwhelming defeat that maybe we let that issue cool off and focus on personal property taxes, or maybe a different tax issue to tackle? Do you expect them? And then kind of same question about IP reform. Do you expect them to go back and try again with addressing IP reform, or do you think because of how bad these losses were, that those issues are going to be just toxic for now, and lawmakers are going to focus in other areas?
Yeah, I think they'll look at income tax. I think when people start talking about property taxes, what's going to happen is most politicians go, hey, that's a local thing. And they're going to point that most of your property taxes are local: school district, hospital district, library district. And so I think that the Republicans will look at little tiny decreases in income tax, and then they're going to have to make a strong case for big spending cuts. They're just going to have to do it. I think that's what they're going to test. I have talked to a number of state lawmakers who say, no, we're going to go back to the drawing board on initiative petition reform. I'm going to be really honest. I think they mean it when they talk to me about that. But I think initiative petition reform is going to go the way of right to work. And I don't think we're going to see it brought back anytime soon, even though some key lawmakers say we really want to do this. It has to happen. It does have to happen. But when you lose 80 to 20, I don't think a lot of elected officials are going to spend a lot of political capital going that much uphill. So I don't think we're going to see IP reform in any big way for a while.
Yeah, I'm afraid that you are right, and that is so bad for the future of Missouri. Yeah. And to your point, and I've had those similar conversations for years. I heard from every Republican lawmaker, senator, representative I talked to that said that IP reform was their top priority, and even with it being everybody's top priority, it took 4 or 5 years to finally get any action on it. So why would I? Yeah. So now with this setback, I think you're right. I think it could be years before we ever take another legitimate run at it. Just a couple minutes left here with Mike Ferguson from Mike Ferguson in the Morning. What about St. Louis County and St. Louis City? We're going to have a new county executive in St. Louis County. Thank God. But who knows if it's going to be more of the same or better. We'll see how that all plays out in the city. Well, and in the county. But when it comes to District 1, I'm not saying that Wesley Bell is somebody that I agree with, most of the time. But it was nice to see another rejection of Corey Bush and, the squad. Do you have any reason to believe or any hope that starting with these November elections that maybe some things could start getting better in the city and county?
Well, in the county, I think that the government's going to start functioning more functionally, come January, regardless of whether Dennis Hancock or Jake Zimmerman wins. I think it'll be more functional. In the city, Kara Spencer's got to start thinking about re-election here in the next year or so. Megan Green is up for re-election in April. I think that you're going to still see that push between we're going to be definitely hardcore left of center, or we're going to be fringe DSA left of center. Kara Spencer is in the former, Megan Green obviously the latter, and I think the overwhelming re-election of Wesley Bell, I know he's got to win in November, but he's going to. The Republicans don't have any chance of winning that. I think it showed that there's a lot of Democratic voters in the city and to some degree in the county as well who say, hey, we're leftists, we're liberal, but we're not crazy.
Yeah.
And I think I was a little heartened to see that the Democrats around here, again, I like you, I don't agree with them on most things, but I think they said enough is enough, and we're not going to be the lunatic party. We'll be the party that disagrees with conservatives, but we're not going to be the party that wants to tear down the foundations of our nation and, put all sorts of crazy stuff in schools and, commandeer, any sort of free market. So I was actually a little heartened to see that the Democrats try to pull back on the crazy.
I agree. Her, her anti-Israel, just she was, and that she got the most national attention of all those races in Missouri, and her comeback bid. It was nice to see voters say, St. Louis voters say, we're not ready to be a part of that circus. Again, Mike, really appreciate your time. Thanks for a little overtime on a Thursday afternoon. We'll be listening tomorrow morning and every weekday morning starting at 5:30 a.m. That's right after I go to bed. I don't know how you do it, my friend. But, great stuff every weekday morning with Mike Ferguson.
And remember, we'll be live at Mario's Donuts in St. Charles tomorrow, so come on out and hang out.
Absolutely. Great stuff, Mike. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day. Yeah, awesome stuff there. Mike Ferguson in the morning. Again, 5:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. every weekday here on News Talk STL. Speaking of great morning programming, Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. is the Dr. Randy Tobler Show. And the doc joins us next here on Colombo Company.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, Jamie Ullman here for Window World. Did you know that Window World offers a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor? They are one of the only 2 replacement windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Window World St. Louis has been owned and operated by a group of born and raised St. Louis residents for more than 23 years, and now Window World is offering 36 months same-as-cash financing with approved credit. Call them today, 800-GET-WINDOWS for a free in-home, no-pressure estimate. That's Window World at 800-GET-WINDOWS.
As you know, Vincent's is not just my favorite jeweler. Vincent's is my only jeweler. And I was in recently looking at lab-grown diamonds. These are not glass. They are actual diamonds, but they cost a fraction of a natural diamond. You can check them out at Vincent's.com, or better yet, see these lab-grown diamonds in person. You're going to be amazed at the beauty and the price. Vincent's Jewelers. VincentsJewelers.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Wholesale inflation cooled last month. That offers little hope for price-weary Americans, even though they're still paying a lot more at the consumer level than they're used to. The Labor Department's Producer Price Index, that's the one that measures inflation before it ever hits the consumer, rose by 4.7% in July compared with a year ago. That is down from the 5.5% increase reported in June compared to a year ago. There is some concern growing now among parents and physicians over a new White House directive on vaccinations. Here's correspondent Lisa Dwyer.
Earlier this week, President Trump said the plan is to separate childhood vaccinations.
At 1 year, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than getting
them all in the same day.
Health experts say vaccination rates are likely to fall because parents will need to take children to more appointments. There is also concern over the financial cost. Vaccine makers will need to build new manufacturing plants capable of producing millions of extra doses. Individual shots have not been marketed separately in the U.S. for decades. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Also at townhall.com, technical failures slowed the vote count in a key Democrat primary. Willie Nelson has more details.
Wisconsin's Democratic primary for governor was marked by major technical problems and delays. In Milwaukee, officials loaded the wrong USB drives containing audit logs instead of actual results, causing significant delays. Greene County also faced server failures that held up reporting. Network election analysts were left visibly frustrated on air as the glitches unfolded. The problems came as socialist candidate Francesca Hong lost to David Crowley. Willie Nelson, Washington.
At the close on Wall Street, it's a successful day for all the major indexes. The Dow up by 31 points at 53,902. The Nasdaq was up 335, and the S&P 500 gained 48 points. More from townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Nothing new to report. The heat rolls on. The high today in the mid-90s, maybe 95, 96 degrees this afternoon, putting that heat index up near 110. It is really going to be awful out there today. Could see an isolated afternoon thunderstorm, but not much rain expected. Lows near 80 tonight and tomorrow, possibly even hotter, getting close to 100. And those heat index readings obviously over 110 as well. It will turn cooler for the BMW Golf next week. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm KMOV meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at serenitywealthbiz.com. That's serenitywealthbiz.com.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Like Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Yeah, I've been throwing down the whiskey. I ought to get my money back. Someone said it drowns a memory.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. Great stuff with Mike Ferguson and Virginia KRUTA, and at the 2 o'clock hour there. Coming up, we're going to talk to my co-hosts from the Bluff City Outdoor Show. Local professional fisherman Mike Marfell is going to be in studio. So is the owner of Bluff City Outdoors, my co-host on the Bluff City Outdoor Show, Mark McMurray. Bluff City Outdoor Show every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL. And speaking of Saturday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m. every Saturday morning is the Randy Tobler Show, and Dr. Randy Tobler is on the line with us now. Doc, thanks as always for your time, my friend. How are you?
Hey, great. How you be? Everything good?
Hanging in there. Just trying to keep up with the madness. Don't even know where to start. I know that I want to talk about. I know that I want to kind of have some fun with Elizabeth Warren, and I was kind of talking about Nancy Pelosi's most recent round of lies earlier in the show, and I want to kind of get into some of that, nationwide politics here in the United States. But it's important to keep an eye on, to keep up to speed with everything happening with Iran. And this has been a This has been a particularly frustrating week, Doc, for me when it comes to the situation with Iran, because I've mentioned this, multiple times this week. We started the week with a statement from the president saying that he's backing off the military strikes and that, sort of approach that we had seen last week and the prior week, and he's backing that off and going back to more negotiations, and he said he's allowing the economy, the sanctions and, the things like that to continue to damage Iran more than the military, and I just feel like that's a step backwards in the wrong direction. And then on top of that, this week has been especially frustrating with the way that they are talking on the world stage. Monday Iran listed their 6 demands for American behavior correction that must happen before the Strait of Hormuz opens, and then they're demanding concessions the next day from the United States government. So I feel like we're backing down, and they are just continuing to be that little dog. It's always the little dog that is the loudest. They can't back it up, but we're allowing them, I think, to make us look very weak on the world stage. And it's been I feel like this week we've kind of turned a corner, or maybe like turned around and taken multiple steps backwards in the situation with Iran. What do you think about where we're at this point with this conflict?
This is absolutely speculation.
Yeah,
Tony.
I love it.
But
Let's
the fact
speculate.
that I thought of this, probably one of the first things that crossed my mind, and that I thought of this possibility, maybe tells us something about my confidence that America is going to come out looking really good on this. If it happens, it won't happen very soon. Caroline Leavitt resigned.
Mm-hmm.
And if this thing continues, and Caroline Leavitt is one of the smartest people on the planet when you look at the way she speaks and the way she's so forthright, so knowledgeable about things, I think she's probably a pretty smart and analytical person. And if I'm her, and I'm on the top of the mountain in my career, and now I want to be a mom, by the way, that's very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a driving factor. But I'm trying to be a mom, and I'm on the top of the mountain right now, and it's been a pretty good ride with, the borders are closed, and, despite what people say, the inflation is moderating, and people do have a little more money in their pocket. And then there's this Iran thing. And looking in my tea leaves, I'm not sure this midterm thing looks good. And I really like being on the top of the mountain and going out, a winner. I don't know. I'm just wondering. I don't feel optimistic at this point. I just don't. I think maybe this thing was not calibrated properly in terms of the munitions it would take in view of the munitions we have. He said last week, hey, yeah, we're okay on the maybe a little short on those high complexity missiles. Those are the ones that are doing the damage where we want them to do them, with minimal collateral damage and preventing attacks when the incomings are taken out by Patriots. Last time I checked, the ones really doing the heavy lifting on a precision, non-boots on the ground war. But we got all that's great. We got all the ladyfingers and the little firecrackers we have. We don't have many fountains. We don't have any mortar shells. But we got the lady crackers, and we got those smoke bombs. We can have a lot of fun with those. And I just and maybe I'm hoping against hope that, hey, the sanctions are really, really working, and they've decided, wow, man, this is going to be cat's meow. Just wait. I'm not so sure. These people want to die in battle, the Iranians. It is not only a threat to them, but an honor to them if they die in battle, to the very last one of them. They are ideologically delusional and psychotic, but that's their reality. And, you're dealing with crazy people. Mm-hmm. And maybe we just didn't estimate their craziness, their resolve, their motivation. And I don't know, just not looking real good right now. I don't want to sound like poopy pants here.
No,
but I'm
I unfortunately, I feel the same way. Unfortunately, I feel the same way. And, you mentioned the Maybe the sanctions are crippling them, at a crushing level, and that's exactly what the president, as I mentioned earlier, that's what he put out a Truth Social statement on Monday, and he, saying that that exact thing, that we're backing off the military strikes and we're focusing on the sanctions and the blockade, and they're not able to. They're not able to rebuild, and they don't have any support, and this is going to cripple them, continue to cripple them and their economy. And maybe all that's true, Doc, but can we respond to the threats and the tough talk? And I know that, listen, I know that what's happening in reality is more important than the bluster and controlling the media narrative. If they are truly being starved out and on their last legs, that's more important than smacking them down when they issue the 6 demands for American behavior correction. But I know this. I know that if Joe Biden was in office or Barack Obama was in office and the Iranian regime was issuing behavior correction demands to the United States in order to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, or if they were, demanding concessions from the United States, we would be saying that this president, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, whoever it is weak and feckless on the world stage, and it's embarrassing and it's hurting the United States. We would be all over that president. So Donald Trump deserves that same criticism, and I don't understand why we're allowing them to have such a powerful position. Just not necessarily in reality, but certainly in the optically when it comes to the international media. I don't understand why we're allowing that, and we're not putting them in their place immediately. Wouldn't that just show such a better example and force of strength and control of the situation? I don't get this strategy or why we're allowing it to play out this way at this moment. What are your thoughts?
My fear is that we don't have much of a choice. That really we don't have the firepower, or we don't have the precision, even if we had the firepower, to avoid collateral damage and civilian damage to the point that it would turn the Iranian citizens against us.
Yeah.
And it could be that we do have the technology, just not enough of it. That's possible.
Yeah. Well, and you're right. Go ahead.
And look, here's the other thing. We've got Russia and China back there, certainly giving them armaments. Who knows what else? Are they funneling money, food? I don't know what else they're doing. So they're getting some back end support on that end. But one thing's for certain, Tony, you're not getting an invitation to Mar-a-Lago very soon. Neither am I with this kind of talk.
Well, you know what? Look, there's a lot of things that this president has done that I think are great, and I think that he deserves, a lot of credit for, and doesn't get the credit he deserves in many cases. Yeah. But this has not been good. This is not the entire Iran situation has just not played out in a good way. Yeah. And when it started, I felt like we did that first week or two. I felt like we were making all the right decisions, and this is proof that this is that President Trump here we go. Finally, somebody that is treating these people and handling this situation the way that we should have done decades ago, instead of the kowtowing and the bowing and all of this that Obama and Biden did. It felt like this. Here we go. This is refreshing, and this is going to be so much better. But ever since that, just first couple of weeks, it's gone. It's been terrible, and I'm afraid it's going to be a scar on on Trump's legacy, and also possibly have a massive impact on the midterm elections in a couple months.
I mean, imagine how the rest of the world, who probably does in some sense, I think they respect the United States. I don't know how much respect. They certainly don't like Donald Trump. There's a few, Mark Rutte and NATO and whatever. But I mean, for the most part, all of them are going like, wow, this guy, he denigrates us, he insults us to our face, whatever. Now, and truly, he calls them out. Good for him, and they don't like that. So there's a lot of animus against Donald Trump. And now look at the appearance. Put this all together. You have the President of the United States at a time when the Iranian regime is now signaling it will not end its fight in the Middle East until Trump is out of office, saber rattling, saying we've got the upper hand. The rest of the world is reading, they're listening to Al Arabiya and reading, the other things too, right? And you got the President of the United States in being shuttled in a catering cart, carrying those god-awful rolls and stale pasta, because it's possible that some lunatic nomad with a shoulder-fired rocket could take his plane down. That's not a good optic for the President of the United States.
That's a great point.
When he cannot finish the job.
Yeah, no, it's a great point.
I'm just talking the way the world looks at this.
Yeah,
and
no, I agree.
Certainly his opponents, you talk about an energized Democrat, whether they're DSA Democrat or not. It doesn't matter. You talk about some energy and some wow. You talk about, hey, man, we got some swag. Now we were right.
Yeah.
And this guy looks so feckless and weak. We got this, man.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing. Yeah, I'm with you, Doc. And the frustrating thing is, as I mentioned before, there are lots of good things that he's done and shown that he has the resolve. He's done a great job with shutting down the border. I did a story earlier this week. I think it was Monday. Was the 1-year anniversary of Trump putting in the Washington, D.C. Safety Task Force, where he was able to use the National Guard and the Marshal Service, and he has cleaned up D.C. He has, all the things that states like Minnesota and Illinois have complained about, about ICE coming in and other, National Guard troops coming in. The president can do a lot more. He's got a lot more leeway in D.C. than he does in the states, obviously, and it should be that way. But he's showing that he was right. The crime has dropped tremendously in D.C. over this year. I know people that work in D.C. and travel to D.C. who have said, and have done so many times over the years, have said it is night and day, now than it was a couple of years ago. It's Trump has shown that he can, that he can do big things and have success, and that just calculates into the more confusion of why we seemingly have bungled the Iranian situation so much. How can you be so good in this area and not? I mean, even the optics. We've lost, I think, control of the actual actions, and we've lost control of the optics of the situation. And I think it's something that they really need to pull it together on before the midterm elections.
It's pretty funny to me, Tony, that you talk about having some intellectual integrity and being honest about things, about if Obama or Biden, who actually were feckless, acted fecklessly, we would have called them on it, and we did. In the same token, it's painfully obvious to me that the administration are now adopting some of the tactics of the left with talking points that are always the same. Every soundbite, everyone talks about 50 years, 47 years, we've been under assault, there will be no nuclear weapons, blah, 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 blah. And it just becomes like Charlie Brown's mother. And they must be now hoping against hope. And I hope it works. The American people they don't pay as much attention as a lot of people that are politically, engaged. Most people aren't like we are, as attentive to it. They must,
because they have real jobs and real lives. And well, you have a real job. I don't know how you do it all, but yeah.
If you tell me long enough that my unsweetened tea tastes sweetened, I'm positive it'll start tasting sweetened.
Yeah.
And I'm just not so sure that people are going to buy that. Not when they're looking at their gas tanks. Not when they've got war fatigue before we went into this thing.
Yeah.
And look, like you say, I don't want to be pooping on the president all afternoon here, but by golly, was this thing thought through? Did they talk to Jack Keane? Did Hegseth really know what was in our armamentarium? And you can blame Biden about what happened, but that happened.
Mm-hmm.
You should look at your balance sheet before you might make a big capital expenditure. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that there was enough calculus that went into this pre-war. I'm just not certain.
Yeah, there's something there. I believe, Doc, that there's something there. There's a part of the story that we don't know, because I still believe, even as critical as I've been of this whole thing, I still believe that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, that these are the guys for the job. I still believe that they are the ones that are the most capable of, doing something that no other presidential administration, and certainly in my lifetime, has been able to do in the Middle East and with this Iranian regime. But for some reason, they haven't. And there's got to be a piece of the puzzle that we are just not aware of. And then I think a lot of mistakes have been, have been made also in handling this. But I just also feel like there's got to be some piece of the puzzle that we don't understand, because I know that these guys are capable of doing this, and we just haven't seen that come to fruition, and it needs to. It needs to.
The only thing I can think of politically that may buffer the political damage that is upon him if he doesn't somehow turn this around quickly is if he turns, at least on the surface and maybe behind the scenes, makes it perfectly clear that he's told Netanyahu, you must now join this fight in a real way.
Yeah.
You laughed at, you turned me away with the Gaza deal. Okay, buddy. There's a lot of people over in my country that don't want me giving much more to you.
Yeah.
So you want more of my generosity and my goodwill and the American people's armaments? You're going to be fighting this battle along with us, not behind us, not supporting us rhetorically. That would gain him among some waffling people on the center, and even maybe even center left, might gain him some cred there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that, and I think it's not just Israel. For other reasons, a little bit of a different message, but still the same overall point of the other allies in the region, Saudi Arabia and other allies in the region. That, hey, you need to pick it up. This is your neighborhood, and you need to uphold your end of the deal as part of this as well. Doc, great stuff. Really great conversation as always. Tune in every Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. for the Randy Tobler Show here on News Talk STL. And always appreciate it when you have a few minutes for us here on Colombo and Company, Doc. We'll talk to you again soon.
Enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah,
thanks, Tony.
Me too. Thank you so much, Doc. All right, we are going to keep the Saturday morning programming rolling right along here. As I mentioned, the Randy Tobler Show, 6 to 9 a.m. every Saturday morning. Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. is the Bluff City Outdoor Show, hosted by myself, local professional fisherman Mike Marfell, who is in the building, and also my co-host from that show, the owner of Bluff City Outdoors, Mark McMurray, who is also here. We're going to be joined live in studio by the guys from the Bluff City Outdoors Show next here on Colombo and Company.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary with Johnny Joey Jones. Next.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Here's Johnny Joey Jones on the Democratic Socialist of America.
When you talk about abolishing prisons, abolishing police, stuff like that, now you're getting more radical as far as people's daily lives. I will say this, though. According to Gallup, 66% of Democrats have a favorable view of socialism. So it's not mainstream. Maybe what brand of socialism, what professor you had in college and how they presented to you, maybe that has something to do with it. But when you think about, now a solid 2 generations, when we look at millennials and now Gen Z that are coming into adulthood and have had college professors preach this to them, it becomes much more palatable to people because they see the academic romanticized version. They're not even listening to the actual politicians and some of the radical ideas. They're just picking up on that word socialism. And the truth of it is the stretch from Democrat, Socialist of America, and communism is how palatable they're trying to make it for people to want to vote for them.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet. I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888 to learn more about our special $67 offer.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common-sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Dozens of out-of-state law firms are crashing into St. Louis trying to get your business. My advice, rely on a hometown firm. Under Law has been here for years. There are lawyers raising their families right alongside yours. And when you're injured by someone's careless actions, you are entitled to full compensation. You want lawyers who will not bend to big insurance, but will stand defiantly protecting you. Under Law, O-N-D-E-R, underlaw.com, under wins.
Producer Joey V of the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show here, reminding you, don't waste a buck on movies that suck. Listen to Joey V's Movies Fridays at 5:45 for reviews you can trust. Brought to you by Harry J. Steakhouse, Freddy's Market, AAA Motor Speedway, and Best Buy Flooring.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story. Big Mama Thornton and other black artists who did not make the big money white artists did.
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
I don't know how I let this happen. But who? The girl next door, I don't know what to do.
So it wasn't you.
Alright. Honey came in and she got me red-handed, creepy with the girl next door.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Thanks again to Dr. Randy Tobler for joining us in that last segment. If you missed that conversation or if you missed anything in the 2 o'clock hour with Mike Ferguson or Virginia KRUTA from the Daily Wire, just make sure you are subscribed to our podcast because we put the show out as a podcast right after we get off the air every day, and we put it on every podcast platform out there. So wherever you like to get podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast at, on that platform, subscribe to Colombo and Company, and you'll never miss anything that happens here on the show. I mentioned Dr. Randy Tobler in that last segment. Randy Tobler Show every Saturday morning, 6 to 9 a.m., and then just a little bit after that show ends, the Bluff City Outdoor Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. here on News Talk STL. Hosted by me and my guests in the studio now, local professional fisherman Mike Marfell.
Yo, Tony.
Great to see you,
Great
buddy.
to see you. It gives you like 2 hours, if my math's right, to get yourself ready.
Exactly.
For the Bluff
October,
City.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward to talking to you today and also this weekend on the show about more experiences at the Lake of the Ozarks and the tournament series that you're participating in. Sometimes I have to live vicariously through you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be
got some good ones.
The lake this weekend, so hopefully I'll get some time on the water. So
if you go down there and don't, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're going down for my daughter's birthday, but I'm going to try to sneak away and
do your normal, get up extra early and go out before anybody wakes up.
Exactly. Also in studio, my co-host from the Bluff City Outdoor Show, the owner of Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois, Mark McMurray. It's great to see you, buddy.
Hey, man, it's great to be back. Good to be back.
Absolutely. How are things right now? Is it, the heat is a bit oppressive. And as Mike always says on the show, the weather doesn't necessarily impact the fish, but it can definitely impact the fishermen.
Yeah, especially the older ones.
Yeah. Yes, I mean nobody really is hardly getting out much. There's a little bit of night fishing going on the rivers. I mean, bite's good. It's just this weather's just horrible for people to take it.
It's the horrible part the only bad part about being a tournament fisherman. We don't get to choose the day.
Yep.
Yeah. So I want to get into some of those. I want to get into some of the issues, the outdoor stories and conversations here in a little bit. They're both Mike and Mark are going to be here for the rest of the hour until we hand it off to Tim and Chris at 4 o'clock. But as I always, the disclaimer I always remind folks of is on Saturday mornings we don't talk any politics unless we have to, unless politics, unfortunately, bleeds into the outdoor community.
Which happens way too often.
Which it does from time to time. But, we try to stick to, it's Saturday morning. We want to have fun. We want to, lighten the mood. So we stick with fishing and bow hunting and trapping and, stories like that. But both Mike and Mark very engaged politically. So get a chance when they're in here with me on Colombo and Company to talk about some of these issues. Some of these stories.
Let's get our blood pressure up.
Listen,
Tony,
it's always
go.
This one's more fun.
Okay.
And I said at the beginning of the show, like as I was, talking about some of the stories that are in the news cycle today, we had a couple old friends names pop up in Nancy Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren, and it's been a little while since we've heard from those two. I talked about the Nancy Pelosi story earlier, and I actually wrote an article that you can read right now on our website, newstalkstl.com, about Nancy Pelosi rewriting or attempting to rewrite history about
little memory hole in
the end of the Biden administration. She did an interview with Politico this week, Mark, where Nancy Pelosi is calling out anybody, all Democrats, White House staff, anybody who knew or saw Joe Biden's mental decline while he was in office. Nancy Pelosi this week calling them out, saying they should have done something about it. Why is she not on that list?
Yes. I mean,
you know what the answer is? She says she didn't see it.
Well, when you're almost maybe in that same state,
you may
not
some
be
people
able to
have been
notice.
saying
You got to
it,
concentrate to keep those dentures in.
She says she didn't see it.
Especially when drinking.
Otherwise, she would have called him out. So she's trying to talk about twisting yourself in a pretzel to try to be everything to everybody.
If you had anybody with a lick of common sense could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hiding in plain sight.
All the way back to the corn pop.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so obvious. So you either in on it or you're just lying to yourself in the public.
She admitted in the interview to having, because I mentioned she's trying to rewrite history, as many people are, and we've seen already, just since he's been out of office, we've seen books by Karine Jean-Pierre, by Jill Biden, by Kamala Harris, that have all put the narrative out there of what happened when when they kicked Biden, when Biden had to step aside and Kamala went in. And while there's a lot of conflicting things in there, one of the common stories from that period of time, from all of those different people, and something that we talked about a whole lot from various reports at the time, is that Nancy Pelosi was basically the one leading the charge in the Democratic Party to get Biden to step away. She wanted him to step out of the race because she didn't think that he could win. And, we've heard the reports about her and Obama, arguing about what's the right thing to do and what do we need to tell and Biden and all of these things. And so she, in this interview this week, she denied being that person, saying, I never asked the president to not run, which is just not true. I mean, there's just overwhelming evidence that she was the one leading the charge. And I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. He needed to go. I mean, but she says no, but she does admit in the interview that she told him that he should probably get a mental test to prove to the American people that he's okay. How can you ask somebody for a mental test if you've never noticed the mental decline?
Yes, it's just lie on top of lies. I mean,
it's hard to keep track.
They become victims of their own propaganda.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
They eat themselves for sure.
Makes no sense. So that's fun with Nancy. And as I said, I have an article up on the website right now. I dig deeper into the story and the quotes and, her talking about how her and Biden would hold their rosaries and pray in the Oval Office, which
and you
pray for abortion on demand with the rosaries.
Yeah,
Is that what they
the
were
most
doing?
anti-Christian, party I've ever
At some
seen.
point, lightning's going to strike. When
I hope so.
No.
I hope so. Lightning striking somebody or somebody actually getting put in jail for their lives.
Or wood chipper. Either way.
So anyway, that's Nancy. I didn't get a chance yet to talk about Elizabeth Warren back in the news. So there is a Democratic Senate nominee in the state of Minnesota named Peggy Flanagan. And she is running on, Peggy?
Mm-hmm.
She is running on being possibly the first Native American woman to serve in the United States Senate.
Oh, my goodness.
And, Mike, here's the funny thing on this.
This is awesome. I haven't heard this.
Elizabeth Warren is one of the people endorsing her.
The tribe wants her to.
But isn't that admitting now that that herself is not Native American? She has been, as we know, running on and using
You're not supposed to remember that
her
stuff.
fake Native American heritage, which is non-existent.
Yes. Didn't she use it to help her get in college, right?
To get a job at Harvard. She was the first woman of color. Elizabeth Warren was the first woman of color because of her Native American background to get a certain position at Harvard. She ran on being, the first Native American candidate and all of these things. And now a Democrat that's being supported by Elizabeth Warren is truly could be that first Native American. It's amazing to watch it all come full circle,
yes,
is it not?
It's wild.
Quote,
I do miss those two because they're way more normal than some of the younger ones coming up, for sure.
In almost 250 years, there's never been a Native American or Native woman serving in the U.S. Senate. It's time to change that, says the political ads for Peggy Flanagan. And what a tightrope for Elizabeth Warren to walk when she's out there campaigning for this woman.
Wait a second.
She just has to admit, right, that she lied if she's going to tout the same message for this.
Yes, she would.
Candidate.
Logic would dictate that, but
but logic, is a problem.
Peggy Flanagan doesn't sound like an Indian.
She doesn't look.
Well,
like
she looks
one either.
more than Elizabeth Warren.
A little bit more than Elizabeth Warren.
Well,
she's at least got a little darker hair.
How, Mark? Seriously, how did anybody take? This has been going on with Elizabeth Warren for like 40 years.
Yeah.
How does somebody at Harvard, as they're doing a job interview with Elizabeth Warren, who's the whitest white chick you've ever seen, and she says to this person, this would be really good. I could be the first woman of color. How is she not out of the office?
Yeah,
How is the interview not over at that moment? How has she gotten away with this for so long? Is it people that just don't want to, I don't want to touch the race issue in any way, let's just, we're just too scared to call out somebody on their lies?
It's because their lies are part of their personality and they're just intertwined in those, they'll almost
But how does that breed
anything.
such success?
Because
how is that a positive thing when your lies are so intertwined with your identity?
When you've got the government involved in everything, it can be used, to get ahead, and it's insanity run amok.
It is.
It
is insanity run
Biden
amok.
got bounced twice for running for president for plagiarizing and lying in speeches, and he eventually became president.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Tim Walz
Most
lying
votes
about his
ever.
Tim Walz lying
by a
about
long shot.
About being
boy.
a sergeant, a master, or
Tim Walz lying about
sergeant major.
Speaking of having fun at the expense of those lunatics, did you see Tim Walz golf video?
Oh my God, is it as good as Obama throwing out a first pitch kind of video?
Yeah, it's right
Throwing
up
off
your,
the wrong
right
foot.
up your alley.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to run for office. I got to see you throw a baseball and a football. If you can't do that, you're out.
It is everything from the outfit to the golf swing.
I'm gonna look it up
to
right now.
yeah, he was just getting torched.
Almost as
for
good
it.
as this hunting trying to load a shotgun.
Yeah,
Remember that?
right. Yeah.
I'm just a regular guy.
Just cannot.
Or when he played Xbox, I'm gonna run a pick six right here.
They cannot
it's
relate.
Not a play, dude.
They just cannot relate with normal.
No,
because they're not normal.
Because they're so.
They
far
are
removed.
definitely not normal.
You know,
Yeah, Virginia KRUTA was talking about an interview that Marco Rubio did recently with his wife on a podcast that somehow devolved into like talking about movies and shark movies. And Marco Rubio started like talking about how much he loves the Sharknado movies. And he's calling out like scenes from different of those Sharknado movies, and he's laughing about them. And, it's like he's a normal guy. Like he's.
Yeah, I mean, everybody watches them.
Can you imagine Tim
They're
Walsh?
entertaining. You know
Right.
what's going to happen.
Right, but just the fact that he knows what they are and he can,
Right.
it sounds like, one of your buddies just joking about a movie.
He's a normal person.
Yeah.
Him talking about Pop-Tarts when he's talking about
Right.
Kennedy's diet was killing him.
Right. And then you've got Chuck Schumer who doesn't even know, how to turn on a
grill before you put the cheese on the raw meat. Yeah.
Right. He's got his frozen burger patty trying to pretend to be
Yeah,
that he's
or back
grilling
to
on 4th of
Pocahontas,
July.
trying to, hey, I'm going to have a beer.
Yeah,
that was so natural.
Yeah, thanking her husband for being in his own house. Yeah. Like it just
the Pop-Tart thing was great because I mentioned to Felicia, I went into Dollar General and I said, hey, how could you, the most cheapest way, get 2,000 calories a day? A box of Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
If you eat all 6 of them, it's right at 2,000 calories.
It's perfect diet.
It's their generic brand, $1.25. So you can theoretically get
Look at
2,000 calories a day.
This one's got a box right there.
2,000 calories a day for $1.25.
And being a boat, you could also tile the space shuttle with them because the icing never melts.
Yes, icing does not melt.
It would not burn up on reentry.
That's Mike Marfell, local professional fisherman. Also, Mark McMurray, the owner of Bluff City Outdoors, the Bluff City Outdoors show every Saturday morning here on News Talk STL. These guys are going to stick around in studio with us for another segment. Did you see a largemouth bass making it into national headlines this week?
I did not.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
it's super cool.
What's working 16 hours a day will
Here
do
we
for you.
here we go. Here's one of those stories where where we're
coming in blind.
The outdoor activities get into the national news cycle. It's a perfect storm here.
16 hours
Hopefully
a day,
the right
you
reasons.
evil capitalist.
Yeah, I know, right?
This is really good. We're going to talk about that and more as we continue with the guys from the Bluff City Outdoors show next.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Hi, it's Mike from The Morning Show, and this coming Friday on the 14th, we are going to be broadcasting from Mario's Donut Restaurant on Mugie Road.
Hey, it's Susie. I'm going to be there, too. We're all going to be there. We want you to be there with us. Join us. Come have some coffee. Come have some donuts.
And, of course, you never know which of our guests is going to show up in person. It's going to be a great time with great food at a great local business, Mario's Donut Restaurant.
That's right. You don't know who might be there, so you better come out and check it out and come join the fun.
Friday, the 14th, 5:30 to 9 a.m.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs Attorney at Law has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. You have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs Attorney at Law. Call 636-949-0010 extension 3 today or visit colecombs-law.com.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 101.9 News Talk STL. Got my co-hosts from the Bluff City Outdoors show in studio with us. Bluff City Outdoors show every Saturday morning here on News Talk STL. Local professional fisherman Mike Marfell is here, and the owner of Bluff City Outdoors, Mark McMurray, is here as well. I just showed it to Mike, and Mark, you saw the video.
Yeah, I've seen it, yep.
A largemouth bass made it into national headlines this week. Carl Swartles?
That sounds right.
I don't know this golfer, professional golfer at
Like Tim Walsh.
LIV Golf New York. He hits a ball. It's his tee shot on the 134-yard par 3 7th hole. Ball lands on the green, but it's got some spin on it.
A little too much.
It bounces into the water and immediately gets devoured by a largemouth bass.
Yep.
It looked like,
It was
Mark,
so cool.
Mark, it looked like the perfect example of a top water.
Oh, yeah. It was
hit.
just boom.
This thing swallowed the
You know,
golf ball.
They'll eat anything. Like
What
Mike
I've
said,
said
yeah.
a
But I
million
was just going to
times.
say, Mark, Mike, you say all the time that they'll eat anything.
And I always
Here's
say-
an example
Yeah.
of they'll eat anything.
If they grew to be 50 pounds, it would not be safe to swim.
Yes.
They would try to eat you.
They would try to eat you.
100% would try to eat you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look. I guess it could look like it's a frog jumping in the water or something. Or
It's something in their kitchen. They ain't having
Yeah.
it. They're territorial, especially big ones, which that one looked like a good one.
Yeah, yeah. To swallow a golf ball whole. I mean,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
But that's the size of a golf ball is just a small frog, same size as a small frog, and they eat those things every.
That's why you only need a white frog and a black frog, Mark.
Yeah.
I know you sell lots of.
Yeah.
You want to sell lots of colors, but those are the only two you really need.
Yeah, yeah. Black
Black
buzzbait.
buzzbait.
Oh, that's to me one of the most universal.
And if you can't decide, use a black buzzbait with a white trailer.
There you go.
Problem solved.
Yeah, yeah.
Little contrast.
Just universal. What is the most common but effective lure when it comes to fishing? It could be bass fishing, crappie fishing, but because we've talked a lot about this on the Bluff City Outdoor Show over the years. I talked about when my dad died and when my grandpa died, years ago. You go through their tackle box and you'll see lures that are 30 years old that are identical to a crankbait or something that is still.
If you wanted, there's a couple of baits that I just call universal fish catchers.
Yes.
And I mean they're simple. A beetle spin.
It's number one.
That's there, and then a Meps or Roadrunner, maybe 1/6 ounce, maybe something smallish. So that a bluegill will hit it, a crappie, everything in the water will hit an inline spinner, and then Roadrunners.
Mhm.
Those three baits just will
And they've all been around for
and they've all
80
been
years.
around forever.
Yeah.
And they just catch fish today.
And
They're what we put people in if they say, I just want to go throw some. My number one is I give them a beetle spin.
Yep.
I said, you put that on, go in your pond, cast it, retrieve it, you're going to catch fish.
You don't have to know how to do anything.
You don't have to know how to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, and they work.
Yeah, you can't hand somebody a jerkbait.
You can't. Yes, you know.
Very specialty.
Yeah, where you got to know
Right, and if you got the wrong size
retrieval
line,
and-
it's pulling it down or floating it up. It's just it's way technical. Beetle spin, throw it out there and wind it back.
Yeah.
Maps,
Yes.
same thing.
Same thing.
Little
It's-
George might be fourth on that list.
Well, Mike, I was going to ask
George
you.
catch fish too. Yes.
Yeah, it's
I was
an
gonna-
inline spinner also. So basically,
I was going to ask you about specifically for bass fishing. Mark, the universal sort of even across the board. What are the ones that come to mind? Or the same ones maybe? Like what?
no. For me,
universal bass.
For me, if I had to throw everything away and go fish a tournament, everything but one bait would be a jig.
Yeah.
Because you can drag it on the bottom, you can swim it, you can swim it high in the water column, low in the water column. Yeah. Second would be a spinner bait of some sort.
Chatterbait.
Chatterbait.
Chatterbait's really
and some kind of soft plastic.
Yeah.
Now, crankbait's pretty specific. I mean,
yeah.
There again, you got to know what you're doing.
There's some technique.
There's the line
to it.
weight,
Mhm.
there's the speed of the reel, all that stuff. But
Mhm.
the jig is the most universal.
Yeah.
In any of you tournament organizations out there, you have your frog only, your jerkbait only. Would somebody just have a jig only tournament, please? It's the most universal bait. Let's do it.
When you
I want to throw everything away. I just want to use that.
I'm sure somebody's going to make a novelty golf ball.
Oh, for sure. Probably already is one.
Novelty golf ball.
Like Mark said, it's like an urchin with a haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad loved that kind of thing. And like you said, with bass, like you could
A little beer can
He could
crankbait?
he could actually catch a fish with
sure.
these things and then take a picture and show everybody that his ridiculous lures are actually, like a beer can.
I rigged up a spent shotgun shell and caught a bass on it just to prove a point. I said, if they're wanting to eat, they're gonna eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to have one in an aquarium, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, I could drop 24 minnows in there, and they'd be gone in 30 seconds.
Yeah, and then
it's nuts.
And then you have these lures that stand the test of time and have been around forever. And just when you think that we've tried everything and we've found everything, one of the big stories of 2026 that we've talked a lot about on the show on the weekends, Mark, is the urchin bait or the dice bait. It's got several different names, but a new lure, spiky ball, that has just taken over the discussion, and when it comes to bass fishing, but just sort of across the board.
They're making crappie ones now, I believe.
Yep, they're making crappie size.
And that are legit. It's not like a fat. They're catching fish. They're winning tournaments.
It's winning tournaments all over the place.
So that's cool. What is the latest on the urchin? Is it still red hot?
It's probably not at the shop quite as hot as it was, but then again, a lot of those baits are fairly durable, so people don't have to keep buying.
I'm using the same one I started with.
Yeah, that's a durable bait.
I got two rigged up, one with a treble hook, one with a frog hook, and I haven't, other than to retie them, I haven't done nothing with them.
Yep.
They're tough.
They're tough. It's good plastic. Yeah.
Got the guys from the Bluff City Outdoors show in studio with us. Let's have a little Friday fun time on a Thursday here as we wrap things up. I saw this story yesterday, and I love it because we've had this conversation in our house before with our kids, and it's like perfect. A survey was recently done, and it was like tens of thousands of people. Like a lot of these viral surveys, will be done by some, Instagram person that's got 1,000 followers, and they'll do a survey and it's got
lean a certain way to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. But this was literally like tens of thousands of people participated in this survey. How many times can you use a bath towel after the shower before it's got to be? Is it once? Is it twice? Is it more than that?
It's way more than that.
What's your number?
I usually go about 4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days, same towel?
Mm-hmm. You're clean when you come out.
One shower a day, 2 showers a day?
Me?
Average?
I'd 1 a day tops.
Yeah?
Depends on what I've been doing.
Okay, yeah.
I go out and cut the grass, and it'll be 2 showers
I'm
a
2
day.
showers a day. I take one in the morning and one at night.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm
just lazy.
Yeah, the one at night's the real one.
I know when I'm dirty.
The one in the morning is just to kind of help wake up. Right?
Yeah, I know when I'm dirty, so
Yeah, I'm kind of in that 4 or 5 days, Steve.
Yeah.
You 4 or 5 days for the same towel?
Plus, my towel hangs right over the register, so it gets dry really fast. It doesn't get a chance to get if it smells funky, it's out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Here's something that will surprise no one with one of my...
Tony uses 4 towels per shower.
2 towels per shower.
Okay.
But they can stick around for a couple of days.
Should be 8 days by my math.
There's a wet towel and a dry towel.
Okay.
The towel, I have 2 towels at all times. One is to dry, initial dry. Nope. One time over with the wet towel. And then the other towel then stays more dry throughout the week.
Sure.
And that's what you go
finishing towel.
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, it works.
I'm gonna try
but
it.
they can last.
I'm gonna get a shower when I get home just to try that.
Do it, baby.
That'll be shower number 2 for the day.
I got the hooks there in the bathroom, and there's always the wet towels on the right.
Are they labeled? Please
on
tell
the
me they're
left.
labeled.
No, and they don't, and they can change.
Every time I put my shoes on, I think of Gabe, by the way, because he did the whole.
Yeah.
If you put your sock and then shoe, then sock and shoe, you're a psycho. I'm like, well, I'm a psycho.
So, of all the people that took part in this survey, the number 1 answer was 2 or 3 showers. 2 or 3 times.
I can live with that.
A towel can be used. It was right at 40% of people that said that. The second most popular answer was 4 or 5 times.
Right there, baby.
20%, which that surprised me. I thought it would go the other way. I thought it would go down to 1 day before
you're
up.
just angry at the planet and want to wash more towels. That's all.
No, I don't. I go multiple days.
I like the finishing towel thing. Much like the shower, I know when my towel's dirty. If it's crusty or smells funky, you probably need to wash it.
Exactly. Yeah. When the wet towel just stays wet, it's time to get a couple.
If mine didn't hang right over the register, it would be probably 2 days.
Yeah.
But it hangs right over the register. It's dry immediately. But my new 2-towel system, I might be on for
Try
weeks.
it, baby. You might.
Weeks.
Yeah. You might.
You can just rotate that first one out. That second
life.
one can just go for weeks, maybe
months.
months.
It could totally change your life.
It's gonna.
One more. This is more like just a PSA, just to reporting a little bit of the news here. The end of an era. 7-Up has changed its formula.
Oh no!
For the first time in over 15 years, I would have thought it would have been like for the first time in 50 years. 7-Up is changing its recipe. Now it will no longer be a lemon lime soda. Oh, this is stupid. I just read this.
They're going with passion fruit.
No, this is what they say. 7-Up will no longer be a lemon lime soda. It will now be a lime lemon soda.
Mark. Never going to taste the same like that.
Oh, my God. Yes. What
The new recipe will start hitting stores soon, within the next couple of weeks, and you'll know you're trying one of the new 7-Ups because the branding will look different. It will say lime lemon instead of lemon lime on the cans. So there you go. Get ready for your new.
I don't think I'll be able to tell the difference because I still can't tell the difference between Coke and Pepsi.
Oh, yeah, I can.
They taste the same to me.
Yeah, I like 7-Up. I don't know what I want to be messing with the formula, but I'll be looking for the new lime lemon. No,
but if you pour Seagram's in it, it tastes just the same.
Oh, yeah, you got that right, baby. Bluff City Outdoors Show every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois, open 7 days a week. All of your fishing needs, all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your Garmin electronic needs. You can shoot every day in the archery range there at Bluff City Outdoors, the #1 place for the outdoor community in the St. Louis area. Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com. And keep it here. Tim and Chris next.
Dive into adventure with Great American Divers. We're your local veteran-owned scuba center offering PADI certification courses, equipment repairs, and dive travel opportunities. From beginners to experts, we got you covered. Kids can join our SEAL Team classes, and we even host pool parties. Our experienced staff is passionate about teaching, and we're the only center in the area with our own indoor heated pool. Great American Divers on Central School Road in St. Charles. Visit greatamericandivers.com. Great American Divers, where adventure runs deep.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Some of the reporters on board Air Force